one department, only one of 15 departments in the entire world.
Good evening. By my watch, it is 5:01, and this is the first of two public hearings for the adoption of the millage rate and budget for the City of Orlando for fiscal year 2013-2014. This first hearing, City Council will consider for adoption the proposed millage rate and tentative budget. The second hearing, City Council will consider for adoption the final millage rate and budget. Madam Clerk, will you read the title of the millage resolution related to the City of Orlando?
Resolution of the City of Orlando, Florida, establishing the ad valorem tax levy millage rate upon the assessed real property and business personal property tax rolls of the year 2013.
The proposed millage rate for the city for fiscal year 2013-2014 is 5.65 mils, which is 2.95% higher than the rolled back rate of 5.4834. Is there a motion to adopt the proposed millage rate?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Lineham, second by Commissioner Sheehan. Rebecca.
Mayor and Commissioners, on July the 22nd, the City Council approved a millage rate of 5.65 so that the appropriate filing could be made with the property appraiser by the August 2nd deadline set for the trim notification process. This millage rate is within the parameters outlined by the state formula and has not been changed from the prior fiscal year.
Is there anyone from the public that would like to comment on the millage rate? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. City Clerk, Madam Clerk, would you read the title of the budget resolution?
A resolution of the City of Orlando, Florida, adopting the annual budget of the City of Orlando, Florida for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2013 and ending September 30th, 2014.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Sheehan.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Ings. Rebecca?
Mayor and Commissioners, the total proposed budget is $934.4 million, including a general fund budget of $357.4 million, or $357,560. That is the same amount as included in the overall city budget as presented in the July 22nd budget in brief. There have been no budget changes made since that presentation.
Public comment? Discussion among commissioners. Commissioner Stewart.
Thank you, Mayor. Each year, as you know, I have served for many years as the Executive Director of the Christian Service Center. The budget for this year and many years prior to my service with the City Council has included funds that provide a modest grant to the Christian Service Center. The amount of that proposed funding for this year is $22,240. None of that money goes toward the general operation of the Christian Service Center. These funds, however, will not be granted to the Christian Service Center unless and until the Christian Service Center and the city enter into a separate written agreement. Such agreement will come before the City Council for individual approval at some point in the future. I want to make it clear that when this specific item comes before the City Council, I'll abstain from voting on the funding agreement between the city and the Christian Service Center and fill out the proper paperwork requiring documentation noting this information.
And if you would just file that statement or let Elena have a copy of the statement.
I think I've sent a copy. I think electronic copy to D, haven't we?
Okay.
Great, thank you.
All right. Commissioner Ortiz.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to clarify, Schedule C is included in this particular vote?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to vote for the budget, but I'm not going to vote for Schedule C.
Okay.
That'll be
Madam Clerk, if you'll take note of that. Same for you, Commissioner Stewart?
Yes, Schedule C, Section 3.
Okay.
Section 3, exactly, to be more specific.
Okay. Commissioner Gray? I'm sorry, I thought you were trying to get
I do have a couple of questions, if I could go. Rebecca, could you help me with a couple of items in the general fund? The capital improvement budget went from, if I'm reading it right, about $12.5 million down to $5.5. Am I right in that assumption? And if so, can you help me with the implications?
The difference there is the purchase of the Lake Eola property.
Okay.
In the previous fiscal year.
Okay. And then the other one I had a question on was the Utility Services Fund.
Yes.
It's historically been in the mid-40s millions, and it's down to like 28. Explain that to me if you could.
We have begun to transfer some of the balance that's in that fund back into the general fund simply from an accounting perspective.
Okay.
The utility service fund is separate because there is a utility services tax pledge on our wastewater bonds. It's a secondary pledge, and we segregate those particular revenues before they go into the general fund. So that balance had built up over time, just budget variances and various other kinds of things along that line, and we cleaned it last year
Okay.
to move a substantial part of the balance over just as a housekeeping item. But the utility services tax fund is really made a part of the general fund for budgetary purposes, so there's really not a lot of difference
Okay.
between them.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Commissioner Ortiz?
I just want to be specific because I wasn't specific enough. It'll be Schedule C, but it's specifically item 3. That's it.
Same as Commissioner Stewart.
Yes.
Okay, further questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. All right. We'll move on to the next public hearing. This is the first of 2 public hearings for the adoption of the millage rate and budget for the Downtown Development Board for fiscal year 2013-2014. At this first hearing, City Council will consider for adoption the proposed millage rate and tentative budget. At the second hearing, City Council will consider for adoption the final millage rate and budget. Madam Clerk, would you read the title of the millage resolution relating to the Downtown Development Board?
A resolution of the City of Orlando, Florida, establishing for the Downtown Development Board the ad valorem tax levy, millage rate, upon the assessed real property within the Downtown Development District of the year 2013.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Lineham, second by Commissioner Sheehan. The proposed millage rate for the DDB for fiscal year 2013-2014 is 1 mil, which is 2.39% lower than the rollback rate of 1.0245. Rebecca.
Mayor and City Council, the City Council on behalf of the DDB has set a millage rate of $1 per $1,000 valuation. Similar to the city's millage rate, that rate was submitted to the property appraiser by the August 2nd deadline and was adopted on July 22nd for the trim notification process. The millage rate is within the parameters outlined by the state formula and has not been changed from prior years.
Is there anyone from the public that would like to comment on the DDB proposed millage rate? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Madam Clerk, the budget resolution.
A resolution of the City of Orlando, Florida, adopting the annual budget of the Downtown Development Board for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2013, and ending September 30, 2014.
So moved.
Yep.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Stewart, second by Commissioner Sheehan. Rebecca?
Mayor and Commissioners, the total budget for the Downtown Development Board is $3.3 million, or $3,336,056. That's the same amount as included in the overall city budget as presented in the July 22nd budget in brief. There have been no budget changes made since that date.
Public comment from anyone? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So the motion carries. Are you for, by any chance, students? No.
This is our budget team.
Oh, that's the budget team.
You look like students.
Yeah. We got a pretty darn young budget team. Commissioner Sheehan was guessing that.
Usually it's the students that come because it's the shortest meeting of the year that they want to get credit for.
Okay. Well, you better introduce the budget team, Rebecca.
This is, I'm going to stumble over the last name, so I'm not even going to attempt it, all right? But that's Eric, Tisha, Brandon, and Ashley.
All right.
Ashley beat me last night in fantasy football, by the way.
It's not good. Eat the boss.
Brian.
You know who he is.
This is Brian. Brian's the head guy.
There you go.
All right, you guys want to do this again next Monday?
Let's do it again. 5:01.
5:01. And we are adjourned.
Thank you.